Um, well, first, I want to say welcome and thank you, Nicole, for being my guest this evening. And very excited for you to share your story with us. Ladies, our guest speaker tonight is Nicole Grelecki. Did I say that correctly?
You did.
And Nicole is the owner and CEO of Healthy Pie Inc. And she will be sharing her story tonight with us. She was a police officer and she was injured in the line of duty. And she's going to share a little bit with us tonight about that story and some of the steps that she took to regain a healthy mindset and get back on track to being healthy physically too. And so we're going to take about the next 30 to 45 minutes to share that story. And then she is also going to be sharing with us, her journey of healing. She came upon an amazing product called Juice Plus in the Tower Garden, which helped her get out of bed and back into life one baby step at a time. So I am going to ask Nicole to go ahead and tell us a little bit more about, you can go ahead and tell us about your family, and then just go ahead and start telling us about your story and what you were doing as a police officer and where it went from there.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Kelly, for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak to your audience. I'm so excited to be here. And so, Kelly asked me to be here because, I had shared about the fact that I had discovered these Tower Gardens, and I just think that they are absolutely amazing. They're the idea of a Tower Garden growing vertically, that you can have them outdoor or indoor. I live in Chicago, and the fact that I can have them all year round. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit how I came upon them and a little bit of my background. So I am married. I have 2 little girls. And, obviously we are coming out of this, as they call it, winter of COVID. And I'm actually feeling pretty good. I know there aren't a lot of people that are feeling the same way that I am personally, but I've spent the last kind of 8 to 10 months kind of really focusing on my next steps. And I've been really taking these little small steps to get there. So it hasn't always been this way though. So I want to take you back to, let's take you back to college. So college was a time where things were still super active in my life, and I was still going 1,000 miles an hour. I finished college in 3.5 years. I knew, coming from a broken family, that it was all dependent upon me of what I wanted to do. My parents, having been married and divorced 3 times each, I knew marriage probably wasn't going to be for me. And so I wanted to go into the FBI. And so I wanted to do everything that I could to get there as fast as I could. So finishing school in 3.5 years, getting a paid internship. And then I started testing for police departments and applying to law school, because in my mind, that's what it was going to take to get into the FBI. Well, you never know when your name's going to come up on either of those lists. Coincidentally, as luck would have it in my life, as it normally is, my name came up on both those lists at the same time. So, this is just kind of how it is, right? Like, when it rains, it storms. And it's kind of how, like, I've always kind of felt in my life. When it rains, it storms. Oh man, and man, does that feel overwhelming at times, right? And I've just always felt, as Kelly has said, is that I've always just kind of collected myself and been like, okay, what baby step can I take to move me forward? What baby step can I take to turn the wheel, to get me out of the rut that I feel I'm in? And really, having my list come up on both lists at the same time, that shouldn't feel awful, right? Absolutely not. But it was overwhelming, absolutely. So for the first 2 years of being in law school and being in the police department. I went to night school, which they said that I shouldn't be doing, and working full-time on the night shift. I also was able to gain the respect of my coworkers enough. Now, that's not an easy thing to do, being the only female on the midnight shift working in a single car, that my partner, which we don't really have partners because I was a single car vehicle, a single person vehicle, introduced me to his best friend, who is now my husband. So that tells you the kind of respect that I was getting out on that street. So, you know, I was working my butt off, right? Like I was doing everything that I could when all of the sudden, you know, February 2007, I got in an accident. And I say got in an accident, but, you know, as I explained to Kelly, that, you know, you kind of have in town sometimes these people who just, you kind of just know their name, right? And this was one of those guys. He was on our list ever since he was an adolescent. We knew where he lived. He was on the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Agency list, right? He was just well known in the area. So when a call came out that he was driving around the neighborhood and recklessly, so recklessly that his vehicle had come up so close, like up on the front lawn of somebody's house, so close to their front door that when they opened the front door, his headlights was facing them. And that, you know, they shouldn't, in the neighborhood that I worked, that was definitely not normal. So knowing where he lived and being my normal beat, that's where I worked. Like every single day that I went into work, I worked the same beat. And so I kind of frequented his house, unfortunately. I knew he had a pit bull. I knew he drove a van. I knew where he lived. So I went and parked right by his house. And I parked at the bottom of his driveway. All the rest of my single vehicle car partners were driving around the neighborhood to try to find him. Because obviously what we wanted him to do was to just return home safely, and so we could figure out what the heck he was doing. So lo and behold, you know, we're tracing him on the radio. He comes around, he tries to get up through the driveway while I'm anticipating him. By the time it's icy, it's snowy, it's slippery. He tries to get up the driveway, and I'm already running after him, and he tries to get in the door. But I hear the dog barking, but I don't know where the dog is. So I grab a hold of him like this, and he tries to get in the door. But I hear the dog barking, and I don't want to get pulled in because I'm by myself. So it's just me and this guy, and we're fighting around a door. Now I have him, like I'm kind of wedged around this door. I don't want to get pulled in, and he doesn't want to come out. And so now we're stuck, right? And we're fighting around this door. Well, my backup comes and they rush the door. And if you guys know anything about adrenaline, the last thing you do when your adrenaline hits is that you actually let go of anything, right? So when your adrenaline hits, you actually hold on tighter to anything that you're holding on to. And so my arms went like this when my backup rushed the door, and I actually tore both the labrums in my shoulders, and I actually the ulnar nerve in my elbow actually kind of like bunched up in a knot. And so I was pretty injured, but with my adrenaline being so high, we arrested him. There was another guy that had gotten hurt, slipping on the ice. It was so icy. We made the arrest. He ended up being, I guess his van was filled with drugs, going to the DEA anyway. But it was kind of a big mess, right? I'm now injured as a police officer. There's another officer down with a broken ankle. We've got a van full of drugs. So, but this is like the turning point of my life for the last, I don't know, 15 years. So what happens? Okay, well, for the next 4 years, I have surgeries. I end up with 2 labrums. 2 right shoulder surgery, a left shoulder surgery, and a left elbow surgery. After 4 years of surgeries and recovery and trying to get back to work and trying to work really, really hard to get back to work, a month after my last surgery, I got pregnant. I was 31. I had just gotten married. I was 31. I was a female officer. That seems normal, right? I mean, I had waited long enough to be pregnant. I had already lost a child during those 4 years, but of course the men didn't know that. And I felt, why should it matter, right? I'm still going to physical therapy. My body is, doing the best that it can. So, I got 5 months into my recovery after my last surgery, and the department determined that I was permanently disabled from my injury. Heartbreaking. Everything I had worked for my whole life was gone. No FBI. What's the point in law school? In that moment, all I could think about was, I have this child. It's a blessing. So I don't know if you know, but you can't fire a pregnant woman. You can't do that. So I did what I had to do, as you should do. And I took the department, my baby step, to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and I filed a suit. Now, I could have had a long drawn out civil suit, but instead, 8 months pregnant, I decided to take a settlement. And there was a moment where I felt a little bit ashamed that I took that settlement. But 90% of me knew when I took that settlement that the reason why I took that settlement was for my unborn child. And I did not want to waste the first few months of my child's life filing suit against these horrible people who fired me when they shouldn't have. So I took their god-awful settlement that was nearly not enough that I felt that I was entitled to, but on principle, they knew, at least in my mind, I felt like they knew they were wrong. There wasn't anything that they were going to be able to do to unring the bell when they told all the officers that, I just didn't show up, which was not true. Right? And when I had my child, I was the one who wasn't able to hold my child due to the injuries I incurred. As a police officer, right? My husband had to hold my child while I nursed my children because I wasn't able to hold them. And nobody knows that. You guys know that, no? But I did that for my children. And there's no shame in that. And man, does that feel good? That feels really good, right? But that was a small step. That was just one little small step of recognizing that life is far better than being in the muck and fighting a fight that's not even worth fighting. And to enjoy the life of my child was far better than being in a court month after month. Sometimes you have to realize that inflicting harm on somebody else, even though it's the same harm or harm they deserve because it's equal to the harm that they inflicted on you, it doesn't feel so good to do it. So I had 3 more years. I had 1 more child by the grace of God. And I spent 3 years either nursing or having children. Then I had 2 more years of recovering from hernia surgeries from having those children. And it was when my youngest child was 5 years old, and I heard her telling a story about how when my older daughter was at school, she would spend her afternoons sleeping, or her afternoons in front of the TV while I was sleeping, because I was in so much pain from what was later determined to be fibromyalgia from the migraines and all the trauma my body had incurred, and all of the inflammation that was just existing in my body, that I couldn't even get out of bed. I was not living the life I wanted to live with my daughter. I wasn't giving her the life that she deserved. Oof, that hit really hard. So I have this awesome friend who, she's from high school. Her name is Liz. And she introduced me to this company called Juice Plus. And it is whole food in a capsule. It's rainbow in a capsule. It's fruits and veggies and berries. And it's an amazing company that believes in the power of family. It believes in the product so much that it gives product to children for free. So as I started to search and take baby steps towards trying to unload this inflammation from my body, I started going to doctors and taking tests and trying to figure out, how do I get rid of this, right? Some wanted to do surgery. Some wanted to give me more medication. Some just didn't want to deal with me at all. Well, I took the medication and I had the surgeries, but that wasn't the answer. What I realized the answer is focusing on my health, focusing on my mind, and surrounding myself with people who cared. Finding a tribe of people who could recognize when I needed to be uplifted, reach out to me when they knew I needed it, and to fill my bodies with more fruits and vegetables than I had ever done in my entire life ever before. And so slowly but surely, I introduced this product of Juice Plus. And then I introduced slowly but surely the practices of Juice Plus. So this idea of this Shred 10, which is not to shred 10 pounds in 10 days. That is not what Shred 10 is all about.
That's what I thought.
Nope, absolutely not. That is not my thing. Absolutely. That is not anything to do with taking small steps at all. Shred 10 is being mindful for 10 days. Shred 10 is eating more plant foods. That includes taking the capsules if you have them. It includes having a shake if you have it, drinking more water, taking more deep breaths, getting more sleep, exercise more often, drink less caffeine, drink less alcohol, don't eat after 6 p.m., eat less processed food, try to go gluten and dairy free, and eat less artificial and refined foods or sugars for 10 days. So be more mindful for 10 days. Now, there are many people who believe that you have to tackle the entire list. I don't. That's not where my success has come from. So as you guys know, there was this thing called COVID that happened. And, we entered COVID in this like pre-winter of winter. So my family, my husband had been laid off the year before in 2019. So we spent in the entire year of 2019 with him unemployed. He started his job in February of 2020. So I knew going into 2020 that I needed a plan B. In February of 2019, I went to now we had been on the product for several years at that point, getting free product for my kids, trying to get my body out of this inflammation. And I showed up to my doctor's appointment in February of 2019, and my doctor's like, "What are you doing different?" I was like, "What do you mean? What do you mean? What am I doing different?" He's like, "Well, you bring your kids in here for 2 years and that's all you come is for your exams. What are you doing?" And what's funny is like, that was the first year I'd admitted to my doctor for 2 years that I had stopped giving my kids vitamins. Like we were depending solely on Juice Plus. And he's like, "Wait, you're what? You're not giving your kids vitamins?" I was like, "No, we're just doing Juice Plus." He's like, "Oh, okay, just keep doing whatever you're doing then. That's fine." I was like, "Okay, we're just going to keep doing whatever we're doing then." And then in April of 2019, I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but how many of you guys go to the store and buy cilantro? Have you guys ever bought cilantro? This is one of my huge pet peeves. So you go to the store and you go buy cilantro. But when you buy cilantro, how many of you actually need the entire chunk of cilantro that you buy? Nobody. Nobody uses the entire chunk of cilantro, okay? So I have personally tried to grow cilantro, always. I try to grow it, and I've always failed. I don't know why. It always bolts. It bolts, I kill it. I don't know why, it bolts. So Liz, my lovely friend, love her dearly. I owe my life to her, no joke. I walk into a party when that was a thing in 2019. And I walk in and here's this tower garden in her basement, people, in her basement, in Kenosha, Wisconsin, in her basement. And here lies this tower garden with lights and this big chunk of cilantro. And I, before COVID, put my nose in it. And I was like, "This is the best cilantro. And look how much it is. This is amazing." I'm like, "What is this thing? Like, what is this thing here?" And I was like, "I know I'm here for Juice Plus. I have Juice Plus, but what is this thing?" She goes, "Oh yeah." And it has like the Juice Plus logo on it. And I was like, "Okay, what's this? I don't care about anything else." She's like, I'm like, "All right, fine, I'll sit down." So I was very patient. I listened to everything. I was like, "I have all of that. I don't have the omegas, but I will get those. What's that?" So she told me that I could do indoor and outdoor gardening in Chicago all year round. Now, I am not a gardener, okay? I am not a gardener, but I want to be a gardener just so I can have cilantro, because I hate wasting. I hate wasting lettuce. I hate wasting herbs. I hate wasting. I hate wasting produce. And what she was sharing with me was like this, people were being so successful with this tower garden that it seemed so simple. And so I was like, it just seemed like a gift from heaven. I know. Do you ever get something, a message from somebody, and you're just like, hell yes, sign me up. Like, just give me the button and I will sign up, right? And so, by the time all was said and done, I had my own business, and I was like, oh, I have my own business? Like, what is this thing called a business? Okay, that's fine. So, all right, I had a business, right? That didn't feel like a baby step. That did not feel like a baby step to me. So, but it was a baby step, but I just didn't know it. It was a setup for 2020. So 2020 came, right? And everybody was at home. Everything was stripped away. I had all this time. I had all this self-development I needed to do. Everybody had self-development to do. So I could create something bigger than just Juice Plus. So I have 2 Girl Scout troops. I love empowering girls. I've been an empowering girl my entire life. How can I make my life into a message? Oh, so this is what I did in 2020. I slowly turned my wheel and took baby steps all year long. Was it easy? No, it was not easy. It was painful. Why? Because I realized when you take all the distractions away, excuse my language, holy shit. There is a lot to uncover when you take all the distractions away and you put everybody in the same house, and all you have is just you and you looking at the mirror, and you're like, oh, whoa, who is this person looking at me in the mirror, right? Yeah. So I didn't like the person I was looking at in the mirror, and I decided that I was going to go all in, because I decided I was an overachiever and I was going to make a message. I decided that my passion, my intention in life is to help mothers and their daughters find and negotiate hard things. I feel like I can help other people do that. I can help people find and do hard things, whether it be with a tower garden, whether it be negotiate hard things like they don't want to climb a ladder. I can help them do that. I can help them use power tools. I can help them do that. I can help them, oh, you get fired when you're pregnant and that's really hard. Oh shit, I can help you do that too. I can help you. You want to learn how to use a gun? Oh, I can do that. I've gone to the police academy. I've worked 3 jobs and paid my way through school. I've traveled abroad. Wow. Okay. I realized I had a resume, people. I can do hard things, and I can teach other people how to do it too. And all the while, you guys, during COVID quarantine, there is nothing that gave me more joy than when my daughter went downstairs after we planted our tower garden, and she put in her hands every single day produce from our tower garden. I mean, every single time she did it, I was like, yes, oh my God, she's getting produce from our tower garden. And then when I made we grew our first strawberry indoors. I mean, my kids were like, Mom, you're nuts. You're crazy. What are you doing? I go, did you see this? I grew a strawberry indoors. Did you see this? And I'm not a gardener. Like, I am not a gardener, but I just grew a strawberry indoors. This is amazing. Like, and I did this with like the community of Juice Plus and the Tower Gardens of Juice Plus, and like the things that people are doing with these Tower Gardens are amazing. It's amazing. And this is going to be the wave of the future. And I really just hope that you jump on it. So I think this would be a great time, Kelly, if you could run that video.
Sure. Well, I am pulling up this video because I have to do a screen share. I'm going to arrange some things so I can pull that up. I have a question for you because, you know, I met you because we're in a similar group together where we're working on personal growth to the max and learning how to build a message with difficult things we've been through to help change other people's lives. And you're clearly doing that. So my question to you is this, as I'm pulling this up here in just a second. You have experienced a lot that could have left you lying in that bed, depressed, in pain, unhealthy, mentally and physically. You know, when I came across a post that you made, I was intrigued because we're doing better mind and body, how to make our minds stronger, working on our mindset, and how to become healthier and stronger in our bodies. So it intrigued me to hear about this Tower Garden, which I want to hear more about. But it also intrigues me when I heard your story, I was even more intrigued because you have a lot of reasons that you could be stuck in a bad place. And I wrote down when I heard you saying this list of all these things that you can do. I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. I can do these hard things. What was it? Because that doesn't happen just by itself. It takes intentionality. What happened, or what did you do? What steps did you take to help you change your mindset, to help you to get where you're at today? So if you want to share that while I am pulling up this screen to show the Tower Garden, we'll get to that in just a second. But can you share that with us?
Yeah. So, you know, there was a lot of times that I wanted to give up, right? There's a lot of times in your mind when you want to. And so Winston Churchill, and I found the author of that saying, Kelly, and I actually found the exact thing that I printed out. So that's the number one thing, is that surround yourself with sayings that you're going to tell yourself every single day that you need to embody and you need to believe. And this was something that I had printed out and I put on my locker every single day because I needed to embody it and I needed to believe it. I needed it. And it's as simple as this: never, never, never give up. Because for me, giving up was just not a choice. For me, if I gave up, for me, I felt like I was going to be dead. That's how strong my drive was. I honestly felt if I gave up, that's how strong it was. That's how strong it felt for me. And so I think when I think back to the days when I was sleeping, and obviously I was providing health and wealth to my children. But I think when I, like what started my fire when I heard that story of my daughter telling somebody else that story, I was like, oh, did I give up? And so then I remember, never, never, never give up. Because to me, if you give up, you give up hope. We must have hope, right? And the other thing is that when you have hope, you can continue to work towards something. you must continue to work towards something and leave everything else in the past, right? And so there was another saying that I also looked this up. And so Norman Vincent Peale, I looked this one up too. Shoot for the moon, because even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. And what I liked about this, and I thought about this one long and hard after we spoke, because if somebody can think about the moon and land on it, right? I mean, if we can see the moon at night, right? And somebody thought that up and was like, you know what? I see that moon. I'm going to walk on that moon, right? And so if we can shoot for that moon, and if we miss the moon, even if we miss the moon, we land among the stars. And there's something so fascinating about the stars. And there's something so fascinating about the darkness. And I know, even after talking to you, and I thought about our conversation, and oh man, it just makes me like relax, because I remember getting so frustrated with the nighttime and how my mind would race at night. I don't know if you guys ever feel that way, but like I remember being at night, and especially if you've suffered trauma, or if you suffer from regret, or if you suffer from shame, or if you suffer from all these things, sometimes the nighttime can be your worst time. And your mind races, and you get that racing mind, right? And if you've had it, you know what I'm talking about. And when I started really thinking about this saying, I realized that I shouldn't be fearful of the darkness. I should let the darkness wash over me, because it actually is a blessing. I should be joyous and grateful for making it through that day, right? I should be able to say, at the end of the day, thank you. And I'm not a very faithful person, but I can still be thankful for making it through that day, that moment. I can be thankful for that day. And then what is awesome about the nighttime, and what is awesome about shooting for the moon and landing among the stars, is the stars are fascinating, because the stars are promise of tomorrow. Tomorrow gives us the hope. The stars gives us the promise of everything that can still be. It gives us promise of our progress, right? We still have a chance to make it better. So those are the two things I have always kept in my mind. And so now when I think about the night, now when I lay my head on my bed, I think of, right before I go to bed, thank you for letting me make it through today. And I'm actually washed over with joy. And it doesn't matter how hard that day has been. I just take a deep breath. I'm thankful for the day. I let my shoulders come down from my ears from whatever stress it has been. And I just let it be a blanket of hope for tomorrow. So I don't know if that resonates with you, Kelly, but
it does. And I love what you shared, because I feel like it gets across a point I've been trying so hard to share with this group, that there's actually three parts, but the two main parts I'm focusing on in this group is that your mind and your body are interconnected, and you cannot separate those two things. And I feel like I hear you saying, for the mindset piece, for you, the biggest thing was being intentional about what you're focusing your mind on, not being afraid to embrace the night, not being afraid to embrace the darkness, instead of running from it, embracing it and facing it head on. And clearly you've done that, but you've done more than that. You've also taken care of the physical side of that as well and gotten stronger because you've been making better choices with what you're putting in your body. And so I think that talking with you and having you come here is just such a perfect fit, because I hear from you such great examples of exactly what I'm trying to get across. So thank you for sharing that about the mindset. And I know we are running up on our time that I told you we would stick to.
Sorry.
But I would love, I have got it pulled up here. I'd love to share this video. It's a 2-minute video that explains, if you're sitting there wondering, what the heck is this Tower Garden thing? We'll play this video and you can see exactly what it is. So do you want to say anything to set this up, or just want me to play?
No, just go ahead and play it. It does a great job.
Great. And then after this is done, we can take a few questions and answers and then wrap up.
Yep.
All righty. Here we go.
Tower Garden's state-of-the-art aeroponic vertical garden system uses both water and air to produce more colorful, better tasting, and incredibly nutritious fruits, vegetables, and herbs. Tower Garden has a 20-gallon reservoir at its base that stores the Tower Tonic nutrient solution. Developed by experts in plant and human nutrition, Tower Tonic Mineral Blend enables superior plant growth and better nutrition from your Tower Garden produce. The process begins once the seedlings have been placed in your Tower Garden. Here they will be nourished with Tower Tonic nutrient solution. Inside the reservoir is a small, low-wattage submersible pump. The pump pushes the nutrient solution up through the tower to the top. From there, the nutrient solution drips through the central tower using a special device that evenly cascades the solution over the exposed plant roots. On the journey down the tower, the nutrient solution feeds the roots and becomes highly oxygenated as it cascades gently down the reservoir. This process is continuous, providing fresh oxygen, water, and nutrients to the roots of the plants. This patented aeroponic process enables food crops to grow faster than they would in soil, so they can be harvested more often. And it makes Tower Garden a healthier, easier, smarter way to grow your produce.
Cool. So I just want to say, before we have any questions and answers, that first of all, I don't have a Tower Garden, at least not yet, and I'm getting nothing from Tower Garden. I just came across Nicole and heard her story and love what she does. And
It is really important.
I think my video must still be playing. There we go. Sorry. But what I'm trying to say is the reason that I'm bringing this to you is I heard her story and I heard what she's doing. And I felt like both of those things were wonderful examples and information that might be useful to y'all. So that's why I brought her here today. And if you guys have any questions for her, we can open up for some questions now. Hi, Angel.
Hi, sorry I have my camera off. I have my daughter running in and out as I was trying to listen to this.
Not a problem at all.
Also, she probably should be in bed because there is homeschool tomorrow. But no, I love the conversation, and yeah, the Tower Garden is so cool because I'm on the parent-teacher committee at her school. And a couple of years ago, we started the gardens in the school. And it just, you know, for elementary school children, it's pretty hard to go out there and really take care of them. And then with the pandemic. And so I started looking into the Tower Gardens, but we just couldn't find one that really suited us and how we would fit into the school. So maybe when we do go back to school physically and stuff, we'll have to really get in touch and figure that out. Because I do think they're really neat. I've seen a lot of videos And I know a lot of schools are using them to teach kids how to grow.
Very
So
cool. I had never heard of it before. I'd never seen anything like it. It's totally new to me. So I thought it was super cool. Again, that's why I wanted to share it here. Thought it was a great way to potentially make some of those healthy changes. And I'm going to be looking into it too. So I don't know.
Yeah, I actually have four of them in my daughter's school. So it's an elementary school. And the Tower Garden actually has all of the curriculum already incorporated into the program. And so when you purchase them as a school program, it's an established program already there. And so I'd be happy to work with you. I've already submitted orders for schools. And the curriculum is already there. So if you go to the website, I can either provide it for you, or Kelly can provide it, or I can drop it into your website, into your group. But you can just go explore. There's no obligation at all. I mean, I am just here for resources. Absolutely. Like Kelly and I just know each other as part of another group. And I'm really just here to help, as part of a resource, right? Like, and so this is something that is so amazing. It's actually in their classroom. So we weren't able to figure out how to screen share, but I had actually, and I'll drop it since I know that you're interested. I have a couple pictures from their classroom, and it's actually in each classroom. So there's 4 of them. 4 of the classrooms have one in each classroom. And as part of the bundle, they actually include more from for a school. And so
great, thank you.
Yeah, it's really, really great. The program's really great. What they include for schools is really great. And the curriculum is all there, which is, I mean, I don't know another Tower Garden that actually has done that yet. And it's free, like it's all part of your purchase. And so like the teachers don't even have to do anything. They just go and they click, and like all the worksheets, all the curriculum. So they don't even have to think about it. Like even if like our teachers did it and the PTO supported it. And so the 2nd grade adopted it as their curriculum for that unit. Right. And then even through COVID, I think that she's even just been posting it as, as part of their unit still, right? They have one working one that's been still working. And then it's easier because they don't have to go out anywhere to work on it. It's right in the classroom. They see it every day. The lights go on, they hear, and it's, the white noise is actually not a distraction. Like it's so good. It's so good. But if you have any questions, just let me know. Just let me know. I'd be happy to be a resource for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we will definitely put a link on there so you can learn more about it if you choose to do so, or if you have any questions. I'm sure we'll put Nicole's contact information in there too, that you can contact her. I'm sure she'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. So,
it takes usually a long time, but it's for such a good cause, for the kids.
Yep. I think that's really cool. So I was fascinated. Like I said, I've never seen anything like that before, never heard of it before. So it was all new to me. Thought it was a pretty cool concept. So again, that's why we're bringing it to you. Not trying to sell you anything, just trying to enlighten people and let you know more information on things that are out there that might help you make better choices. So I want to say thank you to you all for coming and joining us. And oh yes, and Nicole, do you want to tell us about that? Nicole has a wonderful giveaway for us, and I'll put a PDF in the group for you.
Yeah, like I said, I'm just here as to tell you my story and just let you know like what has helped me on my journey. And since COVID quarantine, part of my story is I have personally lost over 30 pounds as part of my journey. And this cookbook has helped me get there. And so I wanted to give that to you guys today. And Kelly is going to drop it in the comments for you. And so it's just a quick cookbook. You know, there's not much to it, but there's simple recipes to help you get more produce into your diet.
Cool. Thank you. And I will definitely put that as a PDF, and I will put that inside the group. I will put it in a post, and I will also put it, I think I have a place where I can put that, forget what they call it. There's a place that I can put files that you can access it at your leisure. So make sure to look out for that in there. And Nicole, I thank you so much for coming and sharing your story with you. I think with us, it's very inspiring, and I am amazed at what you've done and the mindset that you have chosen to adopt and work on, because I know that's not easy. You don't get to where you are today from where you came by accident. It took intentional hard work. And so I applaud you for that, and thrilled to death that you are where you are, and you just keep going, girl. And ladies, we will see you in the group again. So have a good evening.
Thanks, Kelly.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.